Welcome back to another episode of The Rebuild. I feel like this week we are just jumping right into it because Carmen and I generally always have a good 10 to 20 minute conversation before we actually start recording. And we just went through such an intense and deep conversation and thought, oh my gosh, we got to start recording and put this out there.
Yeah.
And it all started with the fact that this past week really did kick off conference week for 2026 with VRIC and AME Roundup happening in Vancouver this week. And although I wasn't there, we had a large Femina crew that was there. And I kept hearing from all of the women just what a different vibe the conference was, both VRIC and Roundup from last year. I think last year, especially on the investment and VRIC side, it was like this very depressing kind of conference. The vibe was really low. People were really pessimistic about the market. And then we went through 2025, which obviously has just been an absolute crazy time for commodities and for mining as a whole. And we are just seeing the momentum grow. And this year, all I heard from VRIC was just how packed it was, how every stage was full, how every room was full, and that the energy around Vancouver and around the industry was just very present and very optimistic. And the whole feeling of that money and things are flowing and everyone is, in favor of the industry right now was very, very present. But you, Carmen, actually in Vancouver, and you were able to go to an event or two. I would love to hear kind of your take on what you felt and saw.
Yeah. So I only went to, I didn't go to the conference itself, but I did go to a dinner. A mini group of the Femina Collective got together. And by the way, I love this sort of networking interaction, smaller groups, more intimate conversation, real quality catch up on where people are at. But that was a question that I asked was, what was the mood in the conference? And very much it was a complete 180 compared to last year, where commodity prices are up. And also with Carney's commitment to passing projects through. So instead of permitting requirements that would, take typically 3 years to move forward, is now taking 10 months. So with that, there's a balance of, whoa, things are going so fast. We still need to make sure they're done properly. So a little bit of apprehension with that. But overall, it's signaling investment internationally. And then just with, again, the prices, the market prices going up, it's a totally different mood. And people are busy again, which is great to see compared to last year, for sure.
Yeah, it's exactly as you said, like these pieces of it's moving so fast. How do we make sure we're doing this right versus we need to move faster because we're otherwise going to fall behind. And
Right.
first, I want to say one of the things that I love about the dinner that happened last night with all of these women who have been or are a part of Femina is I love that happens without me needing to organize anything or be there
Yeah.
or have any sort of say in it, and that these women, all of you, got to be together and you wouldn't have necessarily known each other outside of Femina. And so just that to me always makes me feel really good. But then on that mining side, I think there's just everything around mining right now is money, right? It's talking about money. It's talking about markets. It's talking about money that's being made. It's talking about what's to be expected over this next year. And then the other conversations, I think when money starts taking such a prominent role and such a prominent spot in the conversation, the other pieces fall away even more. And I think about ESG. I think about responsible mining. I think I was speaking with a past colleague of mine from IRMA this week, and he was sharing that he was in a session where, responsible sourcing was being talked about, very typical for kind of the IRMA ecosphere or ecosystem. And he was saying how one of the company guy from a mining company was let's be real, everything is about defense right now. Everything is about defense contracts. That's who's buying our material. And does anyone care that there's a responsibly sourced missile? Probably not. So we're not going to spend our time caring about that anymore. And that is whoa, that is such a shift because, again, money is just everyone wants to be making it. Everyone wants to be accessing it right now. And because the markets are just so wild at the moment and so unpredictable and just like on this continuous upswing. It's kind of like blinding everyone. It's like those cartoon
Yes.
characters when the eyes like pop out with like money signs when they see something,
Yes.
and it
Um,
becomes all consuming. And I think there's been a few moments over this past week and beyond, but really, I think these pressure points and these money points are happening where I have felt, and I know other women around me have felt who have left companies because of different situations that were out of our control, that it's like, oh, if I would have just played the game differently, if I would have just shown up differently, if I would have done something differently, look at all the money I would have been making right now. Look at what I would
yeah.
have taking home right now. I look at my old company is going through an acquisition right now, and all of their CEDAR reports are out for what all of the executive are making from this transaction. And
Mhm.
I think about like all of the money that could have been sitting in my bank account if I just would have, stayed quiet, played by the rules, acted differently. And I heard from a good
Yeah.
friend yesterday with a very similar type feel within the mining sector. And it's like this whole feeling of there's just so much money, and some people are loving it because they're making so much. And then you have all of these other women who have been kind of discarded and tossed aside for whatever reason, who were thinking like, why did I miss that? Why am I not a part of that? And why did I not get to act
Yeah.
that? And this very polarizing view of how money is flowing right now between companies, between the markets, between individuals. Um, and just it's just a very interesting time.
Mm. It's so easy. You and I are having this conversation just before recording to go into the thought like, I missed the boat, or it should have been me if I'd only stayed quiet. And you said, like, for whatever reason, but most of the women that have it's being burnt and an element of betrayal. So feeling that betrayal and being burned from the work where you put so much of your heart and soul into is hard. It's like your spouse cheating on you. It's the same kind of feeling, right? And so I don't think it's a coincidence that these women were that all of us have been doing something that's leading edge. You're trying to create change, and there is this pushback of like, what is she doing rising? I mean, like, you were the highest performing executive on the team, right? Like, that was a public information
Multiple years in a row. Yes.
multiple years in a row. Okay, so like and it's the same story when I look at these women who are for the most part, like in the later part of the mid to later part of their careers, they're rising, they're becoming successful. There's an element of them getting burned.
Hmm.
And so it's easy to be like, fuck, you know,
Yes.
like, fuck
Yeah.
this. Like,
Yeah.
this is this is bullshit. However, what, we did make a choice to stand by our values, stand for ourselves. Like, I am not going to become that low person that cheats people, that only thinks about themselves. And I'm going to listen to my why, my purpose, what I think is important, how I want to live my life, how I want to build my career
Mhm.
around my life and not the other way around. And there is something there. There's something there. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to follow the breadcrumbs. I'm going to keep following. And I think that's where, of course, we can feel betrayed, but to the point where then we wallow in that, that's when we have to be careful because then you become, you don't take action, you become apathetic, and that's when they get you.
Yeah.
That's when
Absolutely.
you lose. When
Yeah.
you don't when you wallow in that, rather than understanding that this is part of the human experience. Sometimes you lose, right? Like, sometimes there's loss, there's grief, and that's what makes us human. That's what allows us to connect with other people. That's what brings us closer to who we are for self actualization. Which, when I look at you, you can say, okay, of course, there was financially. Why didn't I just stay quiet? Why didn't I? But I see you. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be a success, whatever you do.
Yeah. And I fully agree with that. I also think, it was what I was saying with my girlfriend who was sharing a similar like sentiment for something with a company that she had previously worked for and kind of feeling that same swing. And I said, "But look at everything you're doing now." And like the things that
Mhm.
she is doing are so unique in the industry. I've never seen
Mhm.
anyone do things the way that she is in her field. And I'm not going to give too much away because I don't want to give her away, but
Mhm.
I said that would never be able to happen if you were still within that company. You would have
Yeah.
never been able to explore this side. You would have never been
Mhm.
able to develop your side. It's like the same with me. I say at that like over and over again, I have far more influence with where I am now in the industry than I ever would have had being in one company. But it's this whole idea of like money and status, right? And it's like
Mhm.
this idea of like, right, but it's almost like look how much more important I would have been because I would have made all of this money. And it's like, oh, that money is so industry specific, right? No
Yeah.
one's doing extra work to make these copious amounts of money. It's just like the
Mhm.
norm of industry to get that. But it's like this feeling as I watch all of these women like you, myself, a lot of the women that we know who are kind of on that fringe now, and we are still kind of creating change. It's like we're working our asses off in our own businesses and we're pushing and we're creating and we are having influence and we're having impact. Um, and then and it may not be at the same financial scale as what we would be making if we were in company, but it's like lending to the life that we want to live. And it's like allowed a
Mhm.
lot more happiness. And I think, you mentioned that a woman you had recently spoken to said, yeah, she's in her company and she's making a lot of money for her family, but she's like rageful most of the time. And she
Mhm.
like holds a lot of negative emotion. And it's like, what's the trade-off? What's the
Yeah.
trade and how do you make those decisions for yourself? And obviously it's not black and white or things like that, but um it's like remembering what am I here for and what am I doing? And feeling that unfairness, feeling the like, man, it would have been different if,
Yeah.
but again, just like thinking then, but look at everything that I've done. And I have no question in my mind at all. That everything that I'm building, everything you're building, everything most of these women around me are building is going to be successful. I think with all of this talk of where the industry is going, I think there are going to be major shifts that happen and there's going to be major kind of disruptions that happen because they have to. We're kind of
Mhm.
at this point where being the same is no longer going to work for us.
Yeah.
And so, what's going to be the thing that gets us different? And I was
Yeah.
actually speaking to a woman who's going to be coming on. And supporting us with Maven from a contractual side. And I said to her today, I said, I think that what we are doing is going to be a significant point in history in Canadian mining of showing what a completely different company could look like and how we built this, where our investments coming from, what our funding models are, how we do this.
Mhm.
Um, but it feels like we're playing at a really big scale right now because the market is just so inflated and just so
Mhm.
big and taking up so much space. Um, so it is. It's like all of those feelings of like, do I wish that I had all of that money landing in my account? Absolutely. Would I have ever traded everything that I've built the last couple years? Absolutely not. Is my nervous system regulated right now? Do I feel calm? Do I feel at peace? Am I proud of who I am? Am I happy? 100% yes.
Yeah.
It's like that push and pull. And then when I hear girlfriends talking about how much money they're making this year, a part of me's like, shut up. Shut up.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? But
There's a
then
huge difference between being employed and being an entrepreneur and creating your own
yeah.
income.
Well, and I
It's
have
huge.
to Jeremy, my husband, he always reminds me, he's like, "Right, we still make far more than the average
Yeah.
Canadian makes. Like, we still make multi six-figure, like, salaries between us, and, like, we are very well taken care of, but it's when you compare it to what the industry pays in
Yeah.
roles, it makes you feel like, well, I must not be successful." Where it's
Yeah.
like, majority of the population would love to make a single six-figure,
Yeah.
salary or
Yeah.
amount, like this sort of thing. And so again, it's like it's these perceptions and these illusions that are around.
Yeah.
Uh, And you really have to like ground yourself in like what you're doing and why in order to hold that space for yourself and not get swept up in it.
Mm. So, yeah, I think that's exactly what it comes back to is cutting out the noise and finding like sufficiency, because it's so easy to be like, there's not enough, or like, there's like, I could have had so much more here, but like, am I sufficient today? Because you don't know what can happen and how things can change like very rapidly in the course of 1 year.
Mhm. I mean,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Just on that example, it's like again, January 2025 at BRIC, everyone was a negative
yeah,
Nancy, and everyone was
yeah,
like, "It's death and doom over here in mining, and
yeah,
no one's gonna do anything." And then 12 months later, it's a party because it's the best
yeah.
market seen in a very long time.
So, what are the things that you do? What you just said is like to ground yourself in like the why and bring yourself back to what you're doing, what you built. Is that something that is intentional? Because I know like I have a practice with my clients and it's like teaching them
Mm,
to purposefully, intentionally look at that and
mm,
remind yourself, because when you are stuck in a place of like, either feeling like, maybe for some people, they might feel like a victim or things are happening to them, and then
mm,
shifting into creation, and you're creating the opportunities for yourself. You're creating multiple pathways forward. That's what
mm,
I call it. Like, what are the things that you do to ground yourself in that why?
mhm. I think the first thing straight off the bat is that I very much believe that it's up to me to make decisions for my life, right? So
Mm,
I can be upset about things, I can be really down about things working out, not working out.
yeah,
It's up to me to decide if I wanna stay in that spot or if I wanna move past it, and generally, I
yeah,
always want to move past it, and so it very much is like the acknowledgement of, "This sucks, this was unexpected, uh, I don't wanna have to be in this position, but here I am," and then it's
yeah,
like, "Okay, so what do I wanna do about it?" And a lot for me is, looking at we talked about this before, it's looking at the evidence. What have I
yeah,
gone through before that's hard and
mm,
what's come out of it?
yeah,
I do a lot of meditating. I do a lot of journaling. I've journaled since I was in grade 4, and I still have
yeah.
every journal that I have from grade 4. And so that practice of writing is like a very one that I've just, you know, mastered in some degree over my life. And so journaling and getting thoughts out and it really is I heard it somewhere recently where it's like, "Oh, that's what it is." Oh, it was on the You Can Do Hard Things podcast,
Mhm.
uh, where they're like, just simply ask the question, is it hot or cold in your body? Does it feel hot or cold? And if it feels like cold, being like it doesn't really sit well, it's kind of uncomfortable, it's probably not what you need to be focusing on. If it feels warm and fuzzy and it's like getting you excited, like that's what you want to really lean into and you want to like go that direction.
Yeah,
And I really use that. And I didn't necessarily have that terminology for it, but it is that piece of like, is this giving me joy? Is this making me happy? And I think being where I am, both in like life and career and everything that I've overcome on a personal front, on a professional front, it just has built that confidence that
mm,
I know things aren't going to always go my way. That I
yeah,
also have evidence of that, but I'm
yeah,
also really confident in myself now that I can figure out what to do next. And then the other thing I've done this in previous years, but I started mine for this year, was I have a little jar on my desk. I'm looking at it right now, a little jar on my desk with 52 pieces of paper next to it. And every week at the end of the week, I write like the best thing that happened that week.
oh, I
Um,
love that.
and I
Yeah,
just in my jar. So then
yeah,
by the end of that of the year, I'll have 52 things that happened. Or if things start kind of going to shit and I'm in a bad mood or in a bad spot and I need just a
yeah,
reminder what's happened this year, I can go back and start looking at them and remind myself, oh, right, yeah, we're moving, we have momentum. But I think that moving past the unexpected when those hits do happen or when things don't go your way or you feel like you've lost, it does take a lot of intention. I don't think you can just move past those spots. Um, by luck. I think you really
yeah.
do put that intention in. And I have my group of women around me who are very close to me, who it's like, I know I can go to, like, you're obviously one of them where I can be like, oh, this sucks. This is why. This is what I'm feeling. Like,
Yeah.
I can get my pettiness out. I can get all of that out and like in trusted circles.
Yeah.
Um, again, I can't live there or else that will consume me. And so it's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to land this. And I'll even say that to some friends where I'll send a message and be like, I just need to land this somewhere. I don't even need to talk about it. I just need to get it like out. And I'll land it. And then I'd be like, okay, so what am I going to do the rest of my day to keep moving and keep doing things that feel good for me? And as I always say, I think I'm just a bit delusional because I really just don't care a lot about what others who aren't important to me have to say or think about what I'm doing. Doesn't bother
Yeah.
me.
I think that's exactly it. You have to have that sort of perspective, that that shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think like it's like moving through the stages of venting,
Mhm.
getting it out. Like, what's all the garbage happening in your brain that you just want to like get out, whether it's writing it out yourself or venting to a friend or a coach or
Mhm.
your partner. And then for me, what's been really helpful is where is the cr- criticism coming up? Like, what are the things that are going through my brain? And what is it like, then looking at it objectively too, without making up a story or making it mean anything? Because if it's criticism and a failure, it's just data, it's a failure, it's telling us something. And so then what assessment can I make with that? Like, can what can I take responsibility for? Where okay, I screwed up, and then what can I decide to change next time? What am I going to do differently? But also, what criticism maybe that I got? Am I just going to say that's not true? Like I'm not going to take that because, you know, as exactly as you said, it's for coming from someone that doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what they think. They haven't done what I want to do. They have no idea what they're talking about, and they're just as you know, as we say, they're not in the arena with me, so it's not important.
Yeah. It really is those combined pieces of that radical accountability. Like it is
Hmm.
that piece of
Hmm.
what am I contributing in this situation as well? Like what
Yes.
do I need to own and what do I need to change? And then coupled with that, if someone doesn't like me and they've made that very clear and they're trying to tell me something, like
Yeah.
I don't care. You're not like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and win you over. I'm not gonna try and do
Yeah.
all of type thing, but it isn't just on everyone else. It isn't just an everyone else problem. It is like,
Hmm.
and what am I contributing and how do I need to put this
Yeah.
like how do I need to take that accountability as well? And I think, you know, it's the whole point of why we initially started this podcast, right? I think
Mm.
there was like this whole mix of like needing to get things out, talking about it, normalizing these things. But then it is like life is always going to have the ups and downs. You're always
Hmm.
going to have wins and you're always going to have losses. And it's what you do in those in between times that really does matter. It's like, how do
Hmm.
you really appreciate and enjoy when those highs are high and you're feeling really great? And then what do you do to keep yourself not stuck in the downturn and in
Yeah.
the activity and you're constantly going to be rebuilding something professionally,
Yeah.
personally, whatever it may be, mentally, emotionally. You're always going to be evolving, or else I hope you're always going to be evolving because that means you're always growing. And so it's not looking at it as like, oh, I failed, or oh, like I did this wrong, or oh, this, like, you
Yeah.
know, I wish I could have. We can
Yeah.
romanticize the hell out of any situation. We can
Mm.
say, oh, but if this would have happened, all of these other things would have been put into place. And it's just not true. It is a
Yeah.
romanticized version of what it could have been, with ignoring all of the negatives that would have come along with whatever another reality would have been. And so
Yeah.
I think that that's, you know, as women, something that we get, I think, especially with our careers, we get so down on ourselves because we feel like we've had to, or not, we feel we have had to prove ourselves so many times over that when things hit our careers, it becomes very personal to us. It becomes
Mm.
very much like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that, or I wish I would have done that differently, as opposed to just like owning it and saying, no, I'm so glad I did that. And even with
Yeah.
this outcome, I'm so proud of myself for how I showed up every day, or how I went through that transition, or how I stood up to that issue or incident or whatever it may be. Um, and then recognize that, okay, now something new is coming. And again, it wasn't what we expected, but we're smart, we're intelligent, and we get to move through it now
Yeah.
into something else.
Yeah. 100%. What's next? What's next?
But yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we've pretty much wrapped that up and
Yeah. Yeah. It's
cracked it
yeah,
wide open, explored all angles, mapped it out, done and
wild time
done.
at the moment. Yes, for sure. For sure. And no doubt this topic will continue to come up depending on how things keep shaking out and different
Yeah.
conversations happening
It's
throughout the
important because as in rebuilds, pivots, all of it, it's never going to be um, an amazing, wonderful ride only. Like you're going to have these emotions, feelings, setbacks come up. And so I really appreciate that we can have a conversation of what that looks like
yeah.
and what to
And it's
expect.
and it's never gonna be final, right? Your next
Yeah,
move is gonna be your last one. It's never going to,
exactly.
"I have to make this move and that's gonna fix everything forever." It's like, no,
Yeah,
it's just the next move. Like, until
exactly.
you're in the grave, it's never the last move type thing.
Yeah,
So, getting comfortable with that too, and just knowing that you want that. You want that kind of energy and fluidity in your life, because that's what life is about experiencing all of that.
absolutely.
Okay, right.
Great,
Got it out and put it
great.
somewhere. Oh, good.
Great
Awesome.
chat. We will
Yes,
see you next week.
sounds good.
Bye.
Thanks, Carmen.
Bye.
Recording the outro for the Rebuild podcast. If this podcast resonates with you, it would mean so much to us if you could take 30 seconds to follow or subscribe to The Rebuild. This will make sure that you never miss an episode. Just go to the Rebuild Show page on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts and just tap the plus sign on the right-hand corner or click follow. This is super important to our podcast. While you're there, if you'd be willing to leave us a 5-star review and share an episode you love with a friend, we would be incredibly grateful. We love you and appreciate you very much.